Okay. Hey guys, this is Tara. Welcome back to the Witcher series. I don't know how that intro works. You see Geralt in a little bit of different gear. Well, between last episode and this episode, I did a little bit of optimization, I guess. I got a brand new silver sword. Now we can kind of improve it as well. It pretty much triples our damage on the silver sword, and then our steel sword I kept the same as the one we had last time. Upgraded our armor, so we have pretty much the best armor I can buy. Yes. Big note, buy. Most of these things are bought. I haven't been able to go out into the wild and try to pick up any of the special armor or anything like that because and yeah, I started arm wrestling, you can see on the left. So what we'll do, we'll switch over to War Council. Yeah, War Council, and let's go and attend this War Council. So it's been about a week since the last time I spoke with you guys. What have you guys been up to? How have you been doing? Got up to much fun? Well, all I can kind of say is that I've started working in an old age home. First time ever working in the industry. Very weird. Like I was working with a resident a couple days ago where unfortunately she's an older woman, had pretty much not late stage dementia, but started having some delirium. And she used to keep asking the time. I think so she asked me the time 4 times within the span of 10 minutes. And it's quite funny to think that, you know, we young folks, as they would like to say, we young folks kind of go and take that for granted that we can kind of remember things quite easily. Is it through here? What's through here? Anything I can take from here? Because I'm here.
The plague! Damnation!
You have
Damnation!
You, sir, have a very interesting set of dialogue. The plague and damnation. I feel sorry for your missus.
Greetings.
Hello. How do you deal with him? He seems like he's only concerned with the plague and damnation. I know that the plague was huge, but can't we be a little bit more positive here? Anything through here? Oh, cool. This statue kind of brings me to a little bit of a funny point. So, back in the day, this is going to be something really weird to speak about in the middle of like a Witcher episode. But see how this statue, right? It's probably supposed to be depicting a depiction of what's considered beautiful, right? So in real life, right, back in the day, roughly going back to maybe about 1700s all the way about to 1900s, or prior to the 1900s, a more plump woman, actually maybe even going further back, probably going back to almost like pre-history, a plump woman was considered a more beautiful and more viable partner than a more more slim woman. And that was purely because of, at the time, having the whole idea of being able to survive and how fortunate you are to actually get food and stuff like that. So a plump woman would be a sign that she was able to live well. She probably will be able to have better children and, you know, be able to support the children and, you know, not just be not like a burden, but like they won't get sick very often. And that was kind of what was considered, beauty at the time. And these, now, forward to the 2020s, there's no such like sizist and the preference for what size women is or anything like that, especially in the Western world, is no longer much of an issue. But we go back to the early 2000s where the whole question of beauty was always considered to be with all the more slim women. Anyway, that's like a really big tangent on how social construct work now. Didn't think I'd actually have to speak about that. Why is that one glowing? A fire underneath.
You missed quite a scrap, gentlemen, and an opportunity to slay a monarch. There was a struggle and the prince was wounded.
You've all seen the magical phenomenon covering the battlefield. For any who still have doubts, this is no mundane mist, nor a petty fairground illusion. Most likely, we're up against a blood curse, an old and powerful spell. We do not know who cast it or why. For now, I have one piece of good news and several pieces of bad news. The good news is that Henselt and his army have been halted for the time being.
And the bad news?
The mist will grow. It may even engulf Vergen. Furthermore, wraiths may emerge from it.
Can they be made penitent? With an axe to the head?
In theory, yes. But I would suggest putting your faith in a silver weapon. Furthermore, the ghosts will weaken as they move away from the mist.
Is there any way to drive it off? Exorcise it?
A question for myself and Geralt of Rivia.
The Kingslayer?
Contrary to what old women at the wells say, he did not, in fact, slay any kings.
Of course he didn't. Wouldn't hurt a fly, that one. Look at his eyes. You'll see he's the sensitive kind.
Whatever you may see in his eyes, few know more about lifting curses. Gentlemen, I do not require you to understand this phenomenon, but there are a few rules I insist you must follow.
Here we go.
No one is to approach the mist. It is mortally dangerous. In addition, we need to learn the story of the battle. For this, I especially count on the aid of Mr. Cecil Burden.
At your service, milady.
Thank you. To lift the curse, we require some objects symbolic of the war. Ones belonging to those who perished here 3 years past.
Pfft. More scrap iron from that massacre lying about than lice in Cecil's beard. I thought curses were best handled with...
Please leave the thinking to me, Mr. Zigrin, and I'd gladly hear less from you from now on. The objects must be magically active and strictly linked to the ghosts of the fallen. That is all.
Let me be clear. You're all to aid Philippa and the Witcher. What are you grumbling about now, Yarpen?
It's something in my gullet.
Take a swig of wine. Now, to worldly matters. How many are we?
Saskia, you know well...
How many?
We dwarves are near 200, but don't judge us by our number.
1,000 peasants will come, though you'll get no precise count.
My lords?
53 knights and another 200 armed men. Not enough.
Henselt leads 5,000, 5-1 against us. What think you of that?
We are few, they are many. But we have our walls, low though they be. If we had archers, who knows?
Oh, for a regiment of heavy arbalists from Lyria.
We have something better. Yorvith's elves. Scoia'tael.
That's some good thinking.
Gentlemen, I give you Yorvith.
What do you seek here, murderer?
100 of the North's best archers await your orders, Dragon Slayer.
You wished for archers, here they are. I take no pleasure in fraternizing with elves. But even a shit-coated stick can be a weapon. He burned down the villages of many in my horde.
The free peasantry is one thing, but a criminal with a price on his head in all the Northern realms? This is too much.
Saskia, say the word and we'll depart.
Hear me out. Yorvith came to fight for me. I trust him, and I know that he'll stay the course. Just like each of you.
How could you know that? He's an elf. Treason runs in his veins.
He's been fighting humans for a century.
But for the first time in scores of years, his fight makes sense. The Scoia'tael know no peace. They've died for Nilfgaard, for the Valley of the Flowers, in vain. They've been betrayed and cheated. Now they have a new goal. The Pontar Valley could be the first state where no man would have to fear elven arrows when venturing beyond city walls. And elves and dwarves wouldn't live in ghettos or on reservations. First, however, we have a battle to win. You know who we're up against. It's a splendid army, brave and well led. They cannot be scared off or routed. They have to be killed. I want Yorvith to sit at the same table as we do. I want him to kill Cadweni for us. And I assure you that he'll do so with a smile, if only you let him.
If I'm to see a smile on that skinny face, I'm in. Yorvith stays.
Bloody hell. Father's turning in his grave, but a must's a must. I say aye. Nay.
You killed my men, Elf. Remember them?
If I hadn't killed them, they'd have killed me.
All right. For the sake of better times, and for Kedwen's doom, aye!
Down with the sons of bitches! Cheers!
Eyes have it. Is that a poison?
Poison! She's dying. Take her somewhere safe and guard her with your lives. I'll gather what I need and join you soon.
I'll place my best warriors on watch.
Quickly, lads! A litter!
That's the weirdest transition.
She ceased casting spells.
Saskia, is she alive?
In a manner of speaking, I've slowed her life functions as far as possible. Her condition is stable.
Do you know the poison?
Thaumadour, commonly known as mage pain. It has a terrible reputation.
An antidote must exist.
So Thaumadour. I'm sure there's.
What can we do?
Treatment will require herbs, magic, and blood.
Not ordinary blood, I presume.
Correct. We require royal blood.
We could use Letho right now.
The nearest king is on the other side of the Mist of Wraiths.
You misunderstood me. It need not be the blood of a ruling monarch. It is the genotype contained in royal blood that is required. Kings issue from ancient dynasties. Over the ages, to survive, rulers needed exceptional resistance and strength. As royal dynasties rarely admit common blood, the strength of their genes remains great. I shall employ self-healing genetic therapy that will teach Saskia's body how to rid itself of the poison.
You'll have her drink human blood.
No, I shall inject it directly into her heart.
Okay, this is interesting. So, I was always wondering about certain things in fantasy and how they kind of make sense. So, like how she was speaking about needing royal blood. There's always been a question with me about these sort of things. So, in this case, she's like, oh, it's because there's a genetic makeup within the blood, which makes them more likely to exhibit some higher resistance to a lot of things. It kind of shows a lot of things within the current world where we actually look at a lot of genes and immunities and stuff based on like epigenetics and genetic resistance, because certain people have the ability to fight off certain diseases more easily than others. We can see this especially when we go to, say, third world countries, coming from a first world country and drinking the water. So, like, say, if I go to Fiji and drink the water in Fiji, I would probably get very sick from it. but the people that live in Fiji, they generally don't feel any sort of discomfort or anything like that when drinking the water. It's because they've slowly developed this genetic, this immunity towards it. And because in the blood we have our immune cells in it constantly going through, not as much as when you're sick, but this makes sense that, okay, if we transfuse this person's immune carrying cells, or B cells and T cells as they're more formally known as, it may actually help.
What kind of herbs are we talking about?
I'll need a subterranean variety of purple foxglove, known to the dwarves as the Immortelle, and an elven rose of remembrance.
Triss had a rose of remembrance. She claimed the flowers are exceptional.
Long ago, the Enshe who succeeded in cultivating the roses enjoyed great respect,
Times have changed.
as have elves.
There are no elven gardens nearby. We must return to Flotsam.
Triss has a rose of remembrance from Flotsam. It's her we need to find. Where will we find Immortelles?
They grow deep beneath the earth, which should not be a problem as Vergen lies on top of a mine.
How will they help Saskia?
Mage pain wreaks havoc in internal tissues. The Immortelle will help restore them.
Okay, interesting. So this kind of almost works. So it's a paralysis kind of toxin, similar to the TTX toxin from a pufferfish. Interesting.
What else do you need to heal Saskia?
Thaumadour is a self-perpetuating substance. Any incursion into a cluster of poisoned cells causes an immediate chain reaction. Each tainted cell that is removed is replaced by 10 new tainted cells. To interrupt this reaction, I'll need an ungodly amount of the power. A water or air genie, or one of the 20 legendary rings of power would be best.
One to bring them all and in the darkness bind them.
Right. And then I'll have to run barefooted to the top of a volcano.
All right, all right. Let's forget the rings. I need a vast quantity of the power, no matter the source. Find something.
An Immortelle, a rose of remembrance, royal blood and magic sounds like a fairy tale.
A poor one at that. No prince's kiss to top things off.
I wish it were a fairy tale, especially a poor one, as a happy ending would then be inevitable. May I count on your help, Geralt?
You may. What about the Battle of Wraiths?
I must first see if the spells keeping Saskia alive are in order. Then we'll consider how best to send the spectres to their rest. Actually, you could tend to that yourself. Ask the locals about the battle. Maybe you'll learn something.
In that case, I shall search for the poisoner.
Only Philippa Eilhart may enter.
Okay, this is interesting. So I kind of wanted to go through this and from a modern medicine standpoint about what's going on and what's happening with this situation. And it kind of makes sense, a lot of sense actually, where now we have a poison going through Saskia's body and we're trying to work out a way to remove it. And in current medicine, when removing poisons, if there is poisons
may enter.
My god, so many weird things popping up. But yeah, in current world, when removing poisons, you have to kind of be a little careful because sometimes they will stay within the body. And that's purely because poisons are very stubborn. Let's go with the word stubborn. Because common poison that people know about is lead poison. And when one is inflicted by lead poison, it makes...
People of Vergen, we have a magical mist full of ghosts just outside our walls. So you'd better think twice before entering it. The mist, may the plague take it, threatens all manner of creatures. So anyone headed to the quarries or walking through the gullies should take exceptional heed. The squirrels that have made camp by the burnt huts are not our enemies. So says Saskia. And so it is. Master Geralt of Rivia and Sorceress Philippa Eilhart will deal with the mist and the wraiths. And now, open the gates and get to work.
Cool, we can go outside now. But yeah, as I was talking about,
What's the meaning of this? Don't draw your sword. Not around dwarves.
okay, I put my sword away.
Humans.
I put my swords away.
Don't try
Alright.
anything.
So yeah, as I was saying, like lead poisoning is actually quite difficult to get rid of because it kind of attaches itself to the cells and everything, and it's kind of really sticky, right? Like if you think of it like a resin or anything like that, it's not something that comes out quite easily. And it's actually quite surprising, like they kind of follow that sort of mentality here, where it's like when we take it out, 10 get more tainted. So if we look at it in the case of the way it is with normal cells, if a cell gets infected with a large amount of a poison, it kind of stays within the cell. As soon as you pop the cell or destroy the cell and have the cell leak out all its contents, that poison will go into other cells. And we kind of see this also with like cancerous cells and everything like that. So this is really cool. I am very much loving the way these guys follow modern medicine and try to make, you know, the parallel between them. So after all that war council, I think we're gonna call it there for today. This has been Terra, and I'll see you in the next episode. Catch ya!